Well, good morning from Marrakesh. Over the last 5 years, I've spent over £20,000 on camera gear. And in this video, I'll share with you everything that I've learned in the process. First up is the more you spend, the less you get for your money. The difference between a £100 camera and a £1,000 camera is huge. The difference between a £1,000 camera and a £2,000 camera fly is a little bit less. And the difference between a £2,000 and a £4,000 camera, well, that's only going to really be noticed by a select few people. And this applies to everything, not just cameras. The more you spend, the less value you get for your money. What's the sweet spot? That really depends on the specific item you're buying. For cameras, I think between 1 and 2,000 is a sweet spot where you get the most value for money in terms of features, all that kind of stuff. It's a bit too loud. The second lesson is you only really need 2 lenses. This is also a different day. Got sick. A lens like the 24-70 will be great for travel, will be great for these kinds of environments where there's a lot going on. And a 35mm prime, it's a lightweight lens you can just slap on the camera and go for a photo walk. Between those two, you're literally covered for everything. Out of the 12,000 plus photos that I have in my photo library, most are between 24 and 70. A fun camera will be used more. It doesn't really matter how many megapixels you have or what features or what brand. The only thing that really matters is if you actually use the camera, if you want to pick it up and use it. And if you don't, you just simply won't use the camera, no matter how fantastic it is. You can have a cheap camera that you love using, it'll be used more than the best camera in the world. So when you're looking for a camera, find one that is fun for you. Not fun for everyone else or popular, but fun for you. It could be a Sony, it could be Leica, it doesn't matter. Find that fun camera and you will use it a lot more. Size and weight are legitimate features that you need to take into account when looking to buy a camera. Because even though many people love small cameras, other people might prefer a bigger camera like an XH because they have a bigger hand or they like a bigger grip. And other people prefer smaller pocketable cameras. There is no right or wrong, but it's something that's certainly worth taking into account because size and weight play a much bigger role in your enjoyment of the camera than you think, certainly in the long term. Most camera features are gimmicks. As long as your camera can focus, is comfortable to hold, produces good image quality, and you enjoy using it, that's all you really need. Any 3000 megapixel in-camera stitching or AI reverse tethering or upside down backwards panos, they'll be fun for like a week or two. But I can almost guarantee you'll forget about them after a while. Now, don't assume those features are bad, they're not. Just don't make a purchasing decision based on a 3000 megapixel in-camera stitch or a pano or some other feature, because chances are 99% of people will never even use them. Wasting a bunch of money on camera accessories that are simply unnecessary. You'll definitely learn that once you spend a fair bit of cash. Whether it's an overpriced Ninja Turtle glorified camera bag that looks ridiculous, or it's some random mist filter, or it's a color monitor calibration tool. And again, I'm not saying these accessories are bad, there's definitely use cases for them, but for most photographers, They're just simply unnecessary.
If you're finding this video useful and wish to support the channel, then one of the best ways to do so is to check out my little photography book. This book consists of everything I know about photography and everything I've learned over the last decade put into a concise and easy to understand format. Think of this as a photography course without the cost. It covers psychology, mistakes, lessons learned, lighting, composition, color, editing, workflow, and so much more. For more information, see the links in the description, and thank you for your support.
Grapes. That's a little reflection there. Maybe it's a bit too tight, I need to zoom out a bit. But a nice little mirror. There's no such thing as a perfect camera. Some cameras will be better at certain things, other cameras will be better at other things, but it doesn't matter whether it's a £1,000 camera or a £10,000 camera, they'll always have quirks, they'll always have downsides and things that might annoy you. So if you're searching for that perfect camera, it just simply doesn't exist. And the good thing about it is, if you have the attitude that cameras are just tools, they're not these magical devices, you'll start seeing them as tools, and it'll become much easier to pick one out, knowing that no camera is perfect, and even the best camera in the world has flaws. Image quality doesn't advance as fast as other camera features. So for example, if you buy an X-T4 Fuji and an X-T5, you'll find that features such as autofocus have been noticeably improved, ergonomics, that kind of stuff, but image quality hasn't really moved that much. In my experience, I find that image quality on camera bodies improves every 3 or 4 generations, but generation to generation, you're not really going to see a huge improvement unless they introduce a specific new sensor or technology or whatever. So if you're upgrading a camera because you want a better image quality, unless it has like a BSI sensor or something specific that makes it better, you might be better off holding on for another model year or another generation before upgrading for image quality. Now, I made a video about this the other day going into more detail, but I think it's worth briefly mentioning here. Image quality does not mean a quality image, so you can spend all the money you want on the best lens, the biggest sensor, everything. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll have an interesting photo at the end of it, because when we start photography, we associate depth of field and sharpness with an interesting photo, but as we progress, we kind of realize that there's a lot more to it than that, because image quality can be purchased with a credit card, but a quality image requires time and patience and work and dedication. Avoid the rose-tinted glasses syndrome. Now, people can be very tribal. You see it all over the world, whether it's cars with Audi versus BMW, football teams, and even cameras. I can bet you that if you post something critical about a camera, especially one with a tribal following like Fujifilm or Leica, you'll get a bunch of keyboard warriors losing their mind and jumping up and down in their bedrooms. And I don't think it's just the best way to go about it when it comes to cameras, because cameras are just tools. And even though you might love Fujifilm, I like Fujifilm cameras, but being blind to everything else around it and being blind to any shortcomings that these might have can set you back in the long run. So rather than looking at these as like an extension of your personality, I know some people do, look at them as tools. And if as a tool it doesn't serve you, then change the tool. Don't stick with a tool just because of the brand. And I'd like to wrap this video up by saying that novelty wears off. Whether it's flying business class, driving a fancy car, or using an expensive camera. Initially, it's amazing, you love it. But then if you keep doing that, if you fly business everywhere, if you buy yourself a 911 or one of these cameras, a Leica or something like that, then after a while it'll become mundane because it's what you're used to. So my point here is that it doesn't really matter how expensive a camera is. After a while it becomes just another camera, and once you have a scratch on it, you stop really caring as much. So the main takeaway is focus your money, your energy and everything on experiences and actually using the gear and not the gear itself, because at the end of it, the only thing that separates gear is how much it costs and what it can do within reason. But the reason you buy these isn't to hold them or to look at them, it's to actually use them to create art, to make memories, to travel, to do whatever it is that you actually enjoy. Alright, so I'm going to end the video here. We're about to go back into the Medina. It's the last day in Morocco. Marrakesh, I'm not sure, honestly. I think I prefer Fez, but maybe that's for another video. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye. Do you want some focus tea? Focus tea to focus. Calming tea to calm. Skin glow tea. Hormone tea. Energy tea. And digestion tea, which might be useful. Which one? For you, I think calming tea. No? Digestion? Cut.